Jewish Channel's Week in Review. What did the president have to say during his State of the Union? The comeback trail for an Orthodox Jewish boxer and rabbinical student. Looking at Haiti 1 year later, and more of the Jewish news that's changing your world right now on this episode of the Week in Review. Hello, and welcome to the Jewish Channel's Week in Review. I'm Stephen I. Weiss. President Barack Obama's State of the Union address touched on numerous topics of particular interest to the American Jewish community, while noticeably avoiding the topic of Israel. But Israel's welfare wasn't absent from the speech, as the president had this to say about Iran.
Because of a diplomatic effort to insist that Iran meet its obligations, the Iranian government now faces tougher sanctions, tighter sanctions than ever before.
On domestic issues, the president used a message of ethnic diversity and interfaith tolerance to discuss the recent repeal of the military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy.
Our troops come from every corner of this country. They're black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American. They are Christian and Hindu, Jewish and Muslim. And yes, we know that some of them are gay. Starting this year, no American will be forbidden from serving the country they love because of who they love.
And the president noted the empty seat in the audience that would otherwise have been occupied by Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, who is still attempting to recover from an assassination attempt.
And as we mark this occasion, we're also mindful of the empty chair in this chamber, and we pray for the health of our colleague and our friend, Gabby Giffords.
Several Jewish groups criticized the president for not mentioning gun control in light of the recent shooting of Giffords and others. Many Jewish groups also noted that they're looking to see appropriate funding for the poor and elderly in the coming budget, while the president did not mention those groups in his speech. Another event involving a different kind of glitz and glamour is the Academy Awards. Nominations this week highlighted the work of several famous Jewish personalities, including Best Actress and Actor nominations for Natalie Portman and Jesse Eisenberg, respectively. Portman's director, Darren Aronofsky, was nominated for Best Director, as were the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan Coen, for their film True Grit. But if there's one cause that's brought celebrity attention in recent memory, it's the humanitarian crisis in Haiti. The American Jewish World Service held an event to discuss Haiti's welfare 1 year after its devastating earthquake, and Rebecca Honig-Friedman was there.
From the pictures, it's hard to believe it's already been a year since the earthquake that devastated the capital of Haiti and its surroundings. And a panel discussion held at the JCC in Manhattan this week sought to educate the Jewish community about what's going on in Haiti now and what still needs to be done to aid in its recovery.
It will take the country of Haiti easily 10 years or more to make up for the impact of this earthquake and to begin to get back on track for creating its future. When that's the truth, then how do we as a public think about disasters in a more long-term way? How do we think about them in a preventative way?
The event, titled Haiti 1 Year Later, Seeking Lessons from the Rubble, was organized by the American Jewish World Service, or AJWS, and featured 3 Jewish community leaders who visited Haiti with AJWS's president, Ruth Messenger, this past August. Rabbi Rick Jacobs, an AJWS board member and pulpit rabbi, shared his immediate impressions of the earthquake-ravaged country.
Literally 8 months after this devastating earthquake, we land in Port-au-Prince, we get into our little SUV, and we drive through the city. It's as if the earthquake had taken place the day before. There's rubble throughout the downtown area.
Rabbi Jackie Ellenson, director of the Women's Rabbinic Network, recalled the shanty towns that she saw all over Port-au-Prince.
If you can imagine driving on Broadway from one tip of Manhattan to another and seeing tents in the median strip of Broadway, mile after mile after mile.
Panel moderator Jane Eisner, editor of The Forward and host of TJC's The Salon, asked Ellenson and Jacobs, both rabbis, about the theological implications of their trip, prompting a bit of much-needed humor.
How did you grapple with all of this? I mean, where is God in a place like Haiti?
We'll save the hard ones for Ruth. That's kind of like bread and butter for rabbinical students, for rabbis. That's easy.
But on a serious note, Rabbi Jacobs argued that people, not God, were to blame for the devastation in Haiti. noting that just 1 month after the 7.0 magnitude earthquake that killed about 340,000 people in Haiti, a much stronger earthquake in Chile, measuring 8.8 on the Richter scale, killed just 521 people.
So what's the difference? Well, the difference is that in Haiti, buildings were built as anyone wanted to build them. There were no standards. Concrete upon concrete, not reinforced enough. So when that earthquake hit, they literally just crumbled, crushing 340,000 people. So to me, it wasn't this great sense of, where is God? I want to know, where were responsible people in that?
For more from these Jewish community leaders on the situation in Haiti, and to find out how you can help, tune into the full broadcast version of the Week in Review.
Thank you, Rebecca. Here at the Jewish Channel, you've seen a lot about one Orthodox Jewish boxer, Dmitry Salita. We've broadcast 2 of Salita's fights and documented his training. But there are actually 2 Orthodox Jewish boxers making headlines in the welterweight division, and Christian Needon was at the star-studded announcement of a March fight for fighter and rabbinical student Yuri Foreman.
Last week's boxing news conference at B.B. King's in Times Square had a circus-like atmosphere thanks to a rare collaboration between the sport's 2 most iconic promoters, Bob Arum and Don King, who drew much attention for his unique outfit and non-stop rhetoric.
This is really something I've already seen a show.
As well as the heated words exchanged by fighters Miguel Cotto and Ricardo Mayorga, who headlined March 12th's boxing card at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas.
Todas tus peleas importantes, en todas has fracasado.
But the most subdued person on this stage may have been Orthodox Jewish boxer and rabbinical candidate Yuri Foreman, who was fighting on the undercard and making his comeback from last summer's loss to Cotto at Yankee Stadium. Foreman began his very brief remarks by answering the question on everyone's minds about how well he's recovering from a recent injury.
My knee is good. I had good rehab, conditioning work done. The doctor told me that I'm not going to be as a good dancer, but he told me that I'll be an okay boxer.
But for TJC Fight Night host Steve Farhood, history shows that Foreman's mobility must be far better than okay if he is to regain his previous glory.
He has to be 100%. We saw in the ring with Cotto at Yankee Stadium that Yuri Foreman is not the same fighter if he has any kind of handicap in terms of his movement and speed. That's what he's all about. And we're going to know come this pay-per-view show exactly where he's at, because he's fighting Pavel Volak, who's a pressure fighter, who's going to be in his face the whole time, and it's going to make sense for Yuri to move, stick, and fight his kind of fight. He's a boxer. He's never going to be a puncher. So he has to be 100%. If he's anything less, he'll never reach the level that he reached previously.
In addition to his knee injury, Foreman suffered an emotional blow with the October death of his longtime co-manager Murray Wilson. His remaining manager, Alan Cohen, summed up the tumultuous past 6 months for the fighter.
These several months have been very difficult for him, but he's ready to go. You have a new trainer, Al Cerdo, and I think we'll be able to put a good show up on March 12th.
So how has Foreman approached his rehab? Well, when TJC interviewed him late last August, Foreman was restricted to bike work and was not yet allowed to spar in the ring. To take his mind off the weight, he turned to more leisurely activities.
When I had the ACL reconstruction, thank God it was a World Cup on TV. So it was sitting in the couch and watching every single game. But now back to business. I feel good. Can't wait to climb back to the rink.
To hear from members of Team Foreman and get an update on how the fighter's rabbinical studies are progressing, please tune in to the full broadcast version of the Week in Review.
Thank you, Christian. 2 closing notes this week. If you're like me, you frequently read Jewish newspapers or visit Jewish websites. Lately, it would be hard to do either and not notice advertisements for American Friends of Magen David Adom, which supplies American donations to Israel's version of the Red Cross. While Magen David Adom supplies important ambulatory services, you should read a news story in the foreword before choosing how to donate to emergency services in Israel. The story, published in the foreword on January 20th, discusses a funding dispute between the American Friends of Magen David Adom and Magen David Adom in Israel. While funding for emergency services in Israel is always needed, the issues raised in the story suggest a need for caution when choosing a recipient for your donations. Finally, another item about the world of Jewish newspapers, this one of a loss. There's a fascinating story in the Jewish news business going on in Houston, where 3 generations of a Jewish family run the local Jewish newspaper. In a recent conversation with Houston's Jewish Herald Voice, I was surprised to learn that the publisher, Joseph Samuels, was 95 years old, and that employees at the newspaper include his wife, daughter, and 2 of his grandchildren. Joseph Samuels, who bought the newspaper in 1973, passed away last week. I was told that he worked on the newspaper regularly well into his 90s. It's an inspiring story for those of us in Jewish news, and probably for anyone. I'm quite sorry I never got to meet him or introduce him to all of our viewers at the Jewish Channel. That's all for this week. From all of us here at the Jewish Channel, be well. The Jewish Channel is available on cable: Iowa Optimum Cable Channel 291, Time Warner Cable Channel 528, RCN Channel 268, Verizon Fios Channel 900, and Cox Cable Channel 1. For more information, visit tjctv.com.